Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And thank you for your patience. I know you've been sitting here for 35 minutes. At this time, we invite the board and administration and the audience for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We just have a few announcements. We ask everyone to put your cell phones on silence or turn them off. Board meetings are broadcasted live over Comcast Channel 32 and are live streamed on our district website as well as recorded for future broadcasting. As of this time, we're not accepting any more public comment cards. According to our policy, we accept them up till the meeting starts. The comment cards I have, those will be the people speaking. We're going to limit it to 3 minutes. The time will be on the screen. After the 3 minutes, the microphone shuts down. If you come from a large group, we ask that you pick one spokesperson so everyone can speak tonight. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? At this time, we will start public comment. I will call you by name. If you come to the podium, state your name and your address. You must be a resident of Bensalem Township to speak. Mrs. Cascio?
Thank you. Good evening, school board members and cabinet. My name is Angela Cascio, 6621 Senator Lane. After reviewing the proposed health and safety plan, I want to begin thanking our Bensalem School District nurses and nursing staff. They are the true heroes of this past school year. They kept all of our students, staff, and administration in all of our schools, be it public, private, or charter, safe. I cannot begin to explain everything they do in a day to keep our children safe and healthy. Each nurse is responsible for approximately 1,500 students. It is an impossible task that they accomplish not only in one building, but the district sends them into multiple school buildings across Bensalem. They are the key to any successful health and safety plan to keep our children in school safely this upcoming school year. According to the proposed health and safety plan, it is clear that we are going into a school year with no mitigation strategies in place for COVID. I am also aware the district does not have enough nurses. In fact, I believe we are short 5 at this time. I believe that the public deserves to know that Bensalem does not have enough nursing staff at this time to cover our schools. Not only is this an issue for every public school student and parent sitting here, it is also a problem for our parochial and charter schools. The solution is not to throw money at this problem or to send a nurse if one is available. I'm sure the board and cabinet are well aware of section 23.51 and 20.3.52 of the PA State Code that states that a child in a private, parochial, and public school shall be provided with school nurse services in the school in which the child attends. These services shall be provided through the public school system, and the administration of these services shall be the responsibility of the public school administrators. I'm sure there's ways to get around this law, but at what cost? At the cost of my St. Ephraim student with cancer, or the ones with food allergies, or the ones with asthma, or the ones that need daily medication administered, or the child that experiences a medical emergency during the school day, or the one who is unknowingly attending school with COVID. The law states that all students are to be provided with a nurse. Please consider doing whatever you need to do to find and hire more nursing staff so that we can keep all students of Bensalem safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pettyjohn?
Thanks for taking the time to listen to our comment. I know you guys are under an extreme amount of pressure and up against some things that you've never been up against before, and I just wanted to let you know that we empathize with what you're having to deal with what you're going through. I think, you know, after reading the health and safety plan, I know that I, for one, fully support what the direction that we're going. I appreciate you guys taking the time to get that information out to us. We do hope and pray that in the future, as we move forward, and I think with some of the individual conversations I think maybe some of us had in the past, the importance in communication and communicating how we derive at these decisions. And as things change, or things may change, or whatever direction we decide to head in as a district and a community, that we continue to share openly how we derived at that. So we all came here with data and facts, I'm sure, to bedazzle everyone on what we all think we know or what we do know or whatever it is. And that might be the problem with today's age, is that there's information that can be spun to whatever you want it to be. So I can come up here and tell you all these interesting facts about COVID and how it impacts the community and so on. But at the end of the day, we have to know that you're being driven by wisdom, analytics, facts, and data from a common source. If we're driven through fear, or if we're driven through anything other than what is truly supported through data, you know, we hear all these big facts that scare people, but we need to understand how we move through and navigate in the future decisions that impact or may stifle our kids' education or educational environment in the future. And that's the concern of a lot of folks, that you know, this thing doesn't seem to be going away, and it's unfortunate. But as we do navigate through it, when we do derive at a certain situation where decisions need to be made, that we share openly and communicate openly how we derived at that decision, more than just, you know, King Wolf, came down with a ruling, and now us peasants need to get in line with whatever the king says, right? That's not our government, and that's unfortunate that seems to be the way that things have gone. Whether it's Mayor de Blasio or King Wolf or, I mean, Cuomo or whomever it is comes out with a ruling, if it stifles our freedoms or stifles our children's educational environment, we're very concerned and obviously very upset. So it's critical that we share how we arrived at it as a community. And I know you guys have a lot on you as elected officials. It's a lot to ask, but we need to make sure that we're communicating openly, especially about the details of where we go and how we navigate through this, more than just something came down from the higher ups. That comment itself is alarming. So I appreciate your time. I'm sure I'll be talking to you and see you all again real soon. Thanks again.
Thank you. Ken, please.
Ms. Rivera, we should remind people they're supposed to state their address when they speak.
We have it. You're good.
Ken Prouse, 2368 Bowman Avenue. Hello, school board. My name is Ken Prouse. I live in Bensalem. I'm a taxpayer here. I'm just here to speak on behalf of the parents that want a choice. I understand as of right now the plan is mask optional, except basically on the bus, which is something I'm 100% looking forward to. I'm just here to ask that we maintain this option for the freedom of choice for Americans. During the peak of the lockdown, we lost lots of choices, or freedoms if you want to call them. To freedom to attend church, religious services, however you can go to Walmart, Home Depot, all other places like that, that, you know, for some reason they were allowed to have people gather and no repercussions. So basically, we also lost the freedom of speech. Everyone here has Facebook, I'm pretty sure, for the most part, at least the majority. If you put one angle, one side, either way, both sides got attacked for whatever your choice was. Whether you're pro-mask, anti-mask, COVID, non-COVID vaccine, whatever, you were attacked. So, I mean, we definitely lost freedom of speech, so, you know, the rationale went out the window. Basically, another option that I kind of feel like we lost was freedom of choice. School last year was taken away. You know, we had definitely different, you guys had huge decisions to make, but there was either 4 days with put my kids in a mask or keep them home. Well, I'm not pro-mask. I'm not anti-mask. I'm pro-choice, whatever your family wants to do. However, I sent my kids to school because I felt it was the best for them because, you know, mentally, I felt like it was the best thing for them. So, you know, overall, like I'm just the 4 days mask. You know, the children were eaten in a box at some schools, basically a big plastic box, which I feel was a form of child abuse, in my opinion. I mean, you know, everyone has their own opinion on that, but I feel it was some form of child abuse. So it was depressing. My kids would come home and cry, and they felt isolated, and to me, that's not a great education system. They're not focused on education. They're focused on basically keeping people away from each other. So according to tonight, optional was starting 2021-22 school year. As a very involved parent, I would like to say I'd like to keep it this way, to what's basically on the agenda. If we lose the freedom of choice with the mask, what's next? Will I be here in a few days, weeks, months, basically fighting for my child to not be given a jab against my will? I just want to know where it all ends. So again, as American, I would just be glad to allow every parent the choice to pick what their child does. You're the parent. So again, if you're mask, not mask, you should just have the choice. That's all I'm here to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Justin Davidson?
Justin Davidson, 1631 Brown Avenue. I didn't write anything down to say any statistics. I just know if you told me a year and a half ago that we would be here again, revisiting all this, I would probably tell you that you were crazy. Oh, sorry. My kids attend Cornwalls. I have two. They did not attend school this year, and I feel very sad for them, actually. They want to attend school, but they don't want to wear a mask. Last year, I understood why we were where we were, because there was no information out. We didn't know what things were, okay? But it's a year and a half later. Anybody who had the opportunity to get the vaccine has been able to get it. And if they still feel that they need to put a mask on, they can put a mask on. And as long as, I just hope that this year, that when we open, we stay with the choice. Okay, that is the only thing that I care about, is the choice for my kids to go to school, so they don't have to learn through a little box, right? Because they miss school. I think most parents here would agree with me. That's why we're all here, because a lot of our kids, they miss school. If you would have told me that someone could miss school when I was a kid, I probably would have laughed at you. But here we are. I mean, like they want to go to school. Like my generation, that wasn't a thing. Okay. I try to get off as much as I can, but they honestly want to go to school. They've cried about it. We've had a lot of conversations. And I just want to get up here and just voice my opinion, and I just hope that this year we can remain open for the kids so they can get the education they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Shaylin Davidson?
Hello, my name is Shaylin Davison. I live at 1631 Brown Ave. I am 11 years old, and I go to Cornwalls Elementary. I just wanted to say that I think it is not right to tell people to or not to wear a mask because it is not them. So I think that masks should be optional to parents, kids, teachers, and staffs, so everybody has the freedom to make their own choices and no one gets upset. Thank you.
I have to say you did an awesome job. I give you a lot of credit getting up and speaking in front of all these people. Good job. Molly Buchanan?
Hi, my name is Molly Buchanan. I'm 11 years old and I go to Cornwalls Elementary. I had quite the different experience than most people with COVID-19. I still remember the day they said it would be 2 weeks till we can go back to school. It's been over a year. Then when we did have the chance to go back, it was hybrid, and we had to wear masks. They were uncomfortable, unhealthy, and really got my nerves. They cause you to rebreathe your own CO2 and bacteria, which is gross and can make you sick. And staying 6 feet apart is something I personally have always questioned. What is the point? A sneeze does not go 6 feet in front of you, nor does a cough. So I would like to know what the point is. When my parents learned that the attestation letter expired, they wrote me an exemption note. The principal heard that we were not wearing masks, and she allowed us to go back to class. But the next day, I was made to sit in her office every day. A total of 9 days without my teacher, without my classmates. I am not just standing up for myself, but for my 6-year-old little sister and every other kid who does not know that they can question authority. I know that that masking is wrong, and when you know you're right, it gives you the courage and strength to stand up and fight. When we are simply asking that masks to be optional. If someone is concerned about this virus, they can wear a mask. Healthy children should not be masking.
Great job, Molly. Good job. Heather and Stacy, unfortunately, I think your pen was running out here. I can't. Nope.
Hi, I'm Stacy Monaco. I live at Arcadia Court in Ben Salem.
I'm Heather Brophy. I live at 3300 Neshaminy Boulevard.
So this is the third meeting that both me and Heather have been at regarding pretty much the same issue as everybody else is saying. We definitely seen the plan, and we are happy that masks are going to be optional. We definitely are asking for it to stay that way because we should have a choice, and the children should have a choice. My daughter, she missed the last year. Her grades went from all A's, honor roll student, to barely passing, and she was able to make up work, and she passed with all C's. This year, she's going to be in 6th grade. I'll be honest, I don't even want her to come back to school. I've been looking into alternatives, like cyber school or whatnot, because I don't want to have to deal with this. And I fear that even getting her back into school, like what happened to her last time, is they still forced a mask on her. And then what about, are they going to force a test on her that doesn't work? Are they going to try to force a jab on her that is not okay? And now the trust with the schooling, that's out the window. And that's where my issue is. My kid wants to go back to school. It's her 6th grade year. She wants to graduate with her friends and with her classmates. But my fear is that I don't know what yous are teaching them. You've got this whole CRT with the diversity. I mean, you guys are trying to hire for $150,000 a director of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which basically is an indoctrination of our children. And I'm not okay with that. Anybody that looks into it, I don't think you'll be happy with it either. It's like they're ashamed to be the color of their skin. I mean, kids don't look at color. They look at whether or not somebody treats them right. We're not a racist town or anything. We've never been that. I don't teach my daughter to be that. So to have it hidden under social emotional, which I actually seen with my own 2 eyes, that's not okay. I want to know what my kid's being taught, what all the kids are being taught. And I mean, that is that. I don't know why $150,000 to teach hate. I think that's a little ridiculous. Also, with these PCR tests, I don't even think this should even be an option, because this Delta variant, Lambda variant, the 007 variant, I mean, there's 10 million variants that they're coming up with, but it's already come out on the CDC website that the PCR tests don't work. So you can't even test for COVID, let alone any other variants. So, I mean, that's a problem right there. I have here 65 studies reveals face masks do cause physical harm. So I printed all this out for you guys if you want to see it. But, I mean, it's out there. So I just hope that we remain optional, we have the choice, and maybe we can put cameras in the classrooms.
Heather Lepore?
Hi, everyone. I am Heather Lepore. I live at 5419 Yarmouth. The CDC has issued a guidance for a recommendation of wearing masks. A direct quote from the CDC website says wearing a face mask may limit exposure to respiratory droplets and large particles and may help prevent people who have COVID-19 from spreading the virus. It is a fact that all respiratory viruses are spread by aerosol particles or droplets. These particles are both large and also very small, small enough to go through every mask available to children. This is proven in many studies by the NIH and the CDC, etc., which are all now going against their own science. Respiratory viruses don't go away. They circulate year-round and spike when there is a low point of immunity. These types of viruses include COVID and SARS, RSV, and the flu. All have animal reservoirs, not just human reservoirs, which means that they will never die out. A vaccination will not be able to get rid of it. They will always be out there circulating just like the flu always has been. We need to stop living in fear. We need to boost our immune systems, exercise, get fresh air. We need to be better. Stress, poor habits, and diets are one of the largest contributing factors to people getting sick. They ended the emergency pandemic declaration in the beginning of June. The board, the state, and the school district should have now no control on how the children breathe on a daily basis while being educated, especially with without any extensive scientific research showing benefits of doing so. Dr. Damsker, along with our own governor, who's been a tyrant through this whole entire thing, both agree now that wearing a mask should be our choice. I truly feel that the board should be spending their time and resources trying to figure out how we are going to catch these kids up, make them feel confident and productive again when they're in school. I have seen an infuriating amount of pro-mask for everyone people around me going to the supermarket, baseball games, having parties at their houses, going on vacation, all without masks, which is fine by me, by the way, but preaching that my child should wear one. I'd like the choice for the empowered to make their own decisions, not to have them made for them by people who don't follow their own rules. Please choose to stand strong and do what's right for Bensalem and these precious kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer O'Shea.
Hi, I'm Jennifer O'Shea, and I'm on 1631 Brown Avenue. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. This is in regards to keeping the masks hopefully optional still, like the plan has stated. I'm a mother of 3, and 2 of which are students at Cornwalls Elementary School. Let me start off by saying I love my children's school, the teachers, and the extended staff members. I'm here tonight because I would like parents to have the choice to mask their kids or not to mask their child. I want to also talk about facial cues. With masks, facial cues are completely lost. I'm a 39-year-old woman, and I myself rely on facial cues from others. The masks have made navigating through daily life with the masks hard for even me. Now just imagine being a child in school all day trying to navigate without facial cues. Not being able to see the happiness on your teacher's face when you conquer a math problem that you were struggling with. Even being a teacher and not knowing if your student is having the worst day ever because they're hidden behind a mask. Sorry. I'm not used to doing this. I'm extremely nervous. Those facial cues from our kids to their teachers could save a life. I know when I was in school, there was a tragedy in my family when I was 13. My facial cues were picked up by my teachers. They were then able to have a side chat with me and see if they could help me themselves. Sometimes yes and sometimes no, but then they made sure that I received the help that I needed. And that's all because of my facial cues. And I think the kids deserve the same chance too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Christine Matter.
Hello, I'm Christine Madden. I live on 939 Edgewood Avenue. When I first heard that we were going to have 2 weeks off of school, I was ecstatic, thinking we were going to go right back after those weeks were over. It has now been over a year. When you put masks on every single kid in these schools and putting us in dividers, it feels like we are trapped in little bubbles. No kid should ever have to do that. I sat at home in a chair all day, watching a computer screen trying to learn. It was so difficult focusing. I want to see my friends, and I want to go back to my normal life, where I could go to school and sit with my friends. When I could walk into school without the teacher saying, "Where's your mask?" When I could hug my friends without someone saying, "You have to be 6 feet apart or you'll get corona." I have cried and cried, saying to my mom, when? When can we go to school? When can we stop wearing masks? Mom, when can we go back to normal? This is not normal whatsoever. We shouldn't have to breathe our own carbon dioxide. It hurts me because I'm just a kid. Why should we have to fight to breathe actual air? I'm sick and tired of being silenced because of a virus that I have less than 1% chance of catching. I know a lot of people that don't want to wear the masks either. Even if they won't speak up, we will. And we will continue to fight for what's right, even if it isn't a popular option. Thank you.
Great job, Christine. Stacy Champion.
Thank you. Stacy Champion, 623 Ashton Road, Ben Salem. So I'm here on 3 points. One is the 21st Century Club. I had sent an email over today to Dr. Lee and Mrs. Rivera to thank, and predominantly to Ms. Fletcher, who had run the program. I know she is not a school district employee, but as a parent of a St. Ephraim's child who participated in that, I wanted to thank the district for allowing her to do that on our site, and to thank Senator Tomlinson for providing the grant to all the middle schools. With that being said, the 21st Century Club at St. Ephraim's, I feel, is a success because my child did amazing with it. She loved it. She's a 7th grader going into 8th grade. In the St. Ephraim's Archdiocese, there's a Newman Scholarship Test. She was one of the children picked to take this Newman Scholarship Test to get a tuition to a Catholic high school. She is one of 10. 6 of the 10 attended the 21st Century Club. So thank you for providing that. And I wanted to give those good results and to say to any parent whose child is in middle school to please partake in that this year in the public schools. It is a great thing to have. So something positive. Secondly, to the nurses. Thank you very much for ensuring that St. Ephraim's and St. Charles had nurses during the 5 days a week we went all 9 months. It helped tremendously in terms of all the parents with children who did not have issues and children who did have issues. It was great to have somebody there to be able to watch what was going on with our children, especially those who did have COVID, like my children. We all had caught COVID. Our nurse at the time watched AJ to ensure that he was okay. She felt that there was something going on with his eating because she had seen it with other children who had returned from COVID. And we had discussed it. AJ just doesn't like what my husband puts in for lunch, so he didn't eat. And board members know AJ's pickiness. And lastly, so thank you again, and I know hopefully that the nurses will be resolved. And lastly, to the masks. As far as I know, the Archdiocese is mask optional, so I'm very thankful for that. But I will quickly tell you the experience of my daughter. She had gotten yelled at consistently from one teacher. So each teacher is different on how they approach the mask and how the child wears the mask. Many of you know my daughter is very tiny, a very tiny face. The mask would fall off and she would get in trouble. Her personal growth was down on her report card because of the mask in a pandemic year, which is wrong. So a teacher made a subjective opinion to just base my daughter's personal growth on her mask wearing. And so therefore, that is why I think a mask should be a choice, because children should not be determined on personal growth about a mask. And that was a subjective opinion. So thank you, and good luck to everybody for this year.
Thank you. Stephanie Eelsberg.
3637 Mara Drive. My name is Stephanie Inselberg, and I'm a graduate from Bensalem High School in 1993. I graduated University of Phoenix with a bachelor's in business management marketing, which doesn't make you qualified to give medical advice, but it did, however, give me the skills to critically think, research information, and interpret those findings. At the start of the pandemic, I was scared like everyone else. I made sure my daughter was safe and barely left the house. This led to her being isolated from her family and friends, as I was not home because my job did not afford me that luxury. She was always an above-average student, and her test scores reflected that from the Houston's exams up to the PSSAs. This year, that came to a screeching halt. She fell behind in every class, her class participation fell, and her desire to do homework was pretty much non-existent. She couldn't wait till the schools opened back up so she could socialize. When they finally did, she lasted 2 weeks before she couldn't take wearing a mask all day, and the school was unbearably cold because, I don't know, maybe cold air kills viruses these days. According to a press release, 6 parents from Alachua County, Florida, sent the masks of their children to the University of Florida's Mass Spectrometry Research and Education Center after they were worn for 5 to 8 hours. In my opinion, as it should be all of yours, the results were alarming. I quote, "The resulting report found that 5 masks were contaminated with bacteria, parasites, and fungi, including 3 with dangerous pathogenic and pneumonia-causing bacteria. A few pathogens you may be familiar with are Legionnaire's disease, diphtheria, pneumonia, and meningitis. In my opinion, the masks are the real pandemic induced by fear." A Florida appeals court has already ruled that the mask mandate in Alachua County is presumptively unconstitutional because it violates bodily autonomy. The risk of masks cultivating and spreading other pathogens is just another reason why something this personal to the body must remain a personal choice. In another published article in Exitile News in April of 2021, top German scientists have found that wearing certain types of masks for long periods of time could result in potentially hazardous chemicals and harmful microplastics being inhaled deep into human lungs. Professor Michael Brongott, director of the Hamburg Environment Institute, states that mask wearers unwittingly run the risk of breathing in carcinogens, allergens, tiny synthetic microfibers by wearing both textile and non-woven surgical masks for long periods of time. This was backed up by Dr. Sedlick, who was also the former global product safety director at a major global specialty chemical supplier for 40 years of experience in his field. Also sharing that concern is textile chemical expert Phil Patterson of Color Connections, who talks about his concern for potential litigation risks, which is also the concern of myself, the parents that stand beside me, and those who do not know how to use their voice yet. Verbatim from the article, "One unforeseen problem for the mandating the continued and long-term wearing of face masks, such as governments and businesses, is the potential for future litigation if they are proven to have long-term adverse impacts on human health, especially since long-term studies have yet to be undertaken. And if I may interject, so are the concerns of the gene-altering therapy jabs that they want to classify as vaccines that you cannot wait to force a mandate on our entire population without a conclusive study to the long-term effects." Although, according to VAERS, the adverse reporting site of the CDC, there are 12,366 reported deaths as of July 30th, 2021, in which they only account for 1% of actually reported from the so-called vaccines. And I can assure you that those family members do not think their loved one's death was for the greater good of society in the name of experimental medicine. Patterson, who has advised some of the world's biggest clothing retailers and brands on chemical management, agrees this could be an issue.
Cassandra Gennaro?
Hello, my name is Cassandra Giorno. I had my old address down. I'm at 339 North Mount Vernon Circle. I have twins in 5th grade. They're going to be at Struble this year. It's their first year in a new school. They're looking forward to it. They're also nervous because 5th grade seems like such a big step to them. The last time they were in person was in 3rd grade at Faust. They didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. I've been watching closely, calling, emailing all summer, and we were finally able to go to school shopping after hearing masks will be optional this year. I even called the district office and spoke to the assistant superintendent to verify before I told my kids. I don't think I've seen kids so happy to go to school before. Last year, they were so upset. They didn't get all A's and B's like they did every year before. It killed us as parents to see our kids losing confidence in themselves and school. We were at the point we were making plans to move to Florida so they could go back to normal. When I told them, finally, they were happy to go pick out all their supplies. They made plans with their friends to walk to school, want to have breakfast in the morning together. It feels good to see them excited again. Like a lot of parents, we thought, masks optional was the final decision, and we found out tonight it's, being voted on. less than 3 weeks left till school starts. It's kind of frustrating, and I think it's, just crazy. My kids will not be wearing masks to school. I don't care to go over the many reasons masks are unhealthy. I'm sure everyone has come across them on the internet, has their own perceptions on them. I just want to choose what's best for my kids, like a parent should have the right to. If you want kids, or if you want masks on your kid, go for it. Sorry. They've had weeks to figure it out since you guys have put up that it was mask optional, just as we did last year. If they wanted to send them somewhere else, they can go, get the best mask possible, get them an N95 mask, get them a gas mask, and whatever you want. Tighten it up and go on about your day. If you're planning on mandating masks, waiting this late to make a decision is really messing parents up. We should have known what the plan was and given enough time to figure out what we need to do. All this is doing is asking for unnecessary pushback come day one of school. We've done so much, closing our businesses down, not seeing family, flipping our kids' lives upside down, and learning a new way to do school. All while the border's wide open. The CDC won't suggest they shut the border. How can they suggest that our kids have to wear a mask in school? It doesn't make sense. Stop punishing our kids, and please let them get their education without any distractions and being able to simply breathe air.
Thank you. Francine Patron.
Hi, my name is Francine Patron. I live at 5211 Mallard Drive. Thanks for having us and listening. I'm a resident for 17 years. I have 2 boys, one at Struble and one starting high school this year. I do have great respect and fondness for the district and teachers. As their mother, I am Mama Bear, and it is my purpose in life to protect my boys and do what I feel is best for them. We complied as a family the last year and a half. We are now much more informed and educated to the facts of this virus, mask, and the vaccines. It's unfortunate that so much of the truth and factual evidence is hidden from the public. I have 2 articles, studies, proving the lack of protection from masks. It is common sense and common knowledge that masks do not stop the tiny virus particles getting through. It's a fact. And if you can provide scientific evidence, which the CDC can't even provide, I'm sure we'd all listen. My 8-year-old wears glasses. His glasses fogged, and he suffered from headaches the entire year of school, the last year and a half. The headaches did stop this summer, so I know that it was the mask wearing onto school last year. He was also, I would have to say, harassed by his teachers on multiple classes for his mask falling below his nose. And that just really bothers me. As educators, I would like to ask you to please follow the actual science. The science says your mask does not protect you or me. The science says children at a very little risk from sickness and death from this virus. The science says you cannot spread the virus without symptoms. It says the damage and harm to our kids wearing masks far outweighs the risk of this virus itself. Masks are physically and psychologically harmful to our kids. I just really want to ask, please, let's start educating Bensalem. Let's educate our kids, educate yourselves, our community, educate the benefits of living a healthy life, benefits of building your immune system, vitamin D, C, zinc, a healthy diet to manage your weight, your diabetes, your heart issues. Let's not live in fear, but let's just get stronger. Let's live a healthy life and fight this. I ask you to provide resources that actually provide effective treatments and medications to prevent severe illness if you do catch the virus. So again, educate ourselves to return to a healthy, nearly normal life. Let's just get back to normal and leave our kids alone. I have confidence you will make the right decision for our kids. I trust you. Thank you.
Thank you. Rochelle Porto.
Hi, good evening. Rochelle Porto. I live at 2460 Brandon Court. I didn't come here prepared necessarily, but I do want to give thanks to our creator who systematically put together Oxygen works with trees. Trees produce, their fuel that they need. We breathe out carbon dioxide, which goes to those trees. I mean, we have a unique system that God created. And given that, masking children, masking ourselves, it just creates a really low learning level. And why I say that is because I'm a school teacher from the Philadelphia School District, and I'm a special ed teacher. I am the compliance monitor for special ed in my building. I was also a director of special ed. And I read evaluation reports on children and what causes their disabilities. And I can tell you, children who lack oxygen at birth suffer severe disabilities. So if oxygen is the fuel that puts everything into our body system and works with the ecological system outside to make sure that we have trees and, right now everybody's growing vegetables and plants and trees and things in their yards. If we don't have that symbiotic relationship, what good are we? What are we doing to our children? Just a few issues that I know it does create if we don't have that transmission of oxygen to our brains. Without oxygen, we create low blood levels, which gives our brain trouble signaling where to send the oxygen to hungry muscles and tissues. Some of the symptoms, just with mild symptoms, you've got poor judgment, decline in cognition, and uncoordinated movement. Do you know how many children I see annually that we have to evaluate and reevaluate that are suffering, and they were never masked in their life? They just have some disability, some biological or neurological condition that they're suffering from. I'm not looking forward to going back to the school. I know there's going to be a ton of kids sitting in RTI that are going to need to be fast-tracked because they missed a year of school last year. Okay, they didn't attend in a lot of the cases, and then when they did attend, they didn't get anything of value. I teach an Norton Gillingham program, which is a phonics program, which is the best program you can teach for phonics. I can't teach that program if my kid can't see my face. I have to tell him how to say the TH sound. My tongue has to come out of my mouth. I have to pull it back. If I'm wearing a mask, how am I supposed to teach that to him? So this is the concern that everybody has. Again, I didn't come here prepared to do anything, but as I listen to everybody talking, I need to give you the teacher perspective. I couldn't wait to get back to school. In fact, I went back a month before the Philadelphia teachers and their union stopped them from going. So I love school.
So we're going to shift gears here a little bit. We have the next three speakers are speaking on the pool. So our first speaker is Kelly McCarthy.
Hi, school board. Can you hear me all right? Okay, so I understand that the facility meeting was canceled tonight, but I would like to respectfully ask that as a school district employee of 10 years, that I be invited to the meeting as a table member so I don't have to sit here and grovel for 3 minutes. I spend 12 months out of the year at this pool. It's my full-time job, and honestly, I probably know more about the happenings of this facilities than most people in this room. So with it being postponed, that's all I'm asking for right now. I do want to point out that the track coach was invited to at least 2 school board meetings, and they sat at the table and gave their input for $1 million decision. I'm just asking for the same respect. That's pretty much it. My email is btsdaquatics@bensalemsd.org, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you.
Mr. Palladoro? Okay.
The meeting is being rescheduled. Okay, I don't know if the public, I know, but no, it's for everyone else. That and the date is 18th. And some other things are being rescheduled too.
Tim Sheffling?
Hi, Tim Schafling, 6704 Mayflower Drive. Yeah, I didn't realize it was rescheduled either. So I was just looking for an update on the pools, on where Schaefer stands. Are you going to open it, or are you not going to open it? Where the high school pool stands as far as getting it fixed. I'm assuming I'm going to get those answers on the 18th, not tonight. Is that correct? Or okay. I know you're not allowed to answer me. Just a reminder who I am. I'm the coach of St. Charles swim team. I represent. There's 65 children on my team. 63 of them are Ben Salem residents. So I am a community swim team. I do provide many swimmers to the high school swim team. They do go to the high school. My own son is going to be a sophomore at Ben Salem High School. That's pretty much it. I'm just looking for an update on the pools because our swim season, my swim season starts in October. So I need an answer on what I'm doing with my swim team. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. We thank everyone for speaking tonight. That's all we had. Do you want me to turn it over to you, or? Okay. Okay. At this time, I'll turn the meeting over to our superintendent, Dr. Lee.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for your presence and participation. Special shout out to the Cornwellians. You are both intelligent and articulate, and Dr. Mark would be very proud. So thanks for your words and your presence. Tonight, of course, before our board for consideration is the return to school health and safety plan. We are planning for a traditional school year this year, as much as COVID will let us. We pledge to identify and support academic gaps in student learning. We remain committed to the health and well-being of our students and staff as they return to in-person instruction, some for the first time in 18 months. We are committed to proper sanitation and screening protocols throughout our district, in our facilities, and with our people. We will follow social distancing as much as we possibly can in consideration of the teach and learning process and personal protective equipment guidelines, masks, as determined by our state and local health department authorities, the Bucks County Department of Health specifically. I will share that the Return to School Health and Safety Plan was developed in collaboration with our local Department of Health. It considers CDC guidelines, Pennsylvania Department of Health guidelines, and in collaboration with all 13 Bucks County school districts and 3 career technical education institutions. Just the year at a glance, you've seen this. It's been shared out for a couple of weeks and communicated, I believe, the last week in July. First day of school, August 30th for grades 2 to 6, 8 and 10 to 12 on August 31st. Well, August 31st for K1, 7, and 9, and everybody back the day after. So we look forward to that. We missed having everyone here in person all day, every day. And we know that there may be some things to recover, some academics, some friendships, and some relationships. There will be, for those who opt for it, if the board approves this plan tonight, a remote option offered through our Ben Salem Cyber Academy. The presentation of instruction will be what you had experienced before last year. In the beginning of 2019, through March 2020. All students are expected to attend class with typical attendance procedures followed. For transportation, there will be full capacity seating on our bus runs. However, the federal government is requiring masking on buses. They relate and connect school district transportation to their public transportation mandates. School meals, all students will receive breakfast and lunch at no charge to families or students. The health and safety plan before the board's consideration tonight has masks and face coverings optional for all staff and students, recommended for unvaccinated or medically compromised individuals. And again, masks required on the bus. Social distancing restrictions have been lifted in classrooms, at lunch, and during recess, but we still think it's a good idea to not get too close for an extended period of time for the foreseeable future. IEPs and other meetings will be held in person or remote, depending on parent guardian preference. Student supports, this board, this district, and all of us have invested significantly more resources to make sure our kids are good, that they're healthy, that their well-being is cared for, considered, and looked after. And if they have any issues or concerns, we're here to serve and help. And all of this in consultation with families. Our air purification systems will remain in all schools and buildings to combat COVID, cold, flu, and other communicable diseases and viruses. Bensalem Township School District will continue to follow Bucks County Department of Health requirements regarding contact tracing. We will note that we never contact traced. We conducted preliminary investigations and shared that information with our Department of Health, who then commenced with the contact tracing. But the County Department of Health no longer does contact tracing. Visitors are welcome back to our buildings. Masks and face coverings will be optional, but recommended for those unvaccinated and medically compromised. I want to thank the community, especially our students, for their patience with us during an incredibly difficult, challenging, and I hope, unique year. I also want to share that, like everything we've experienced during these last 18 months, things could change very quickly and possibly remarkably. And I want to give you confidence that if they do, we are positioned to pivot in the interest of health and safety. That remains our primary concern. Again, some reminders: August 30th, first day for students in grades 2 through 6, 8th, and 10th through 12th. August 31st, first day for students in grades K, 1, 7, and 9. And September 1st, everybody back. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the Bensalem Township School District Health and Safety Plan for 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
I do have one question I just thought of when I saw Dr. Lee's presentation. On the part, I mean, as we hear tonight, there are parents who wish to have a choice and not mask their children. We know there are parents who want a choice and or would like to mask their children. So what just occurred to me with the lunch and the social distancing, if you're a parent who wants to have your child wear a mask, they can't, obviously you can't at lunch, right? So for how are you going to handle lunch? Because there would have to be social distancing, or those children whose parents want them to wear a mask won't be able to eat. Is there a plan for that? It doesn't affect any of your children if you're not interested in it, but parents who would like to mask their children, I mean, all we'd have to do is like. Okay. My point is, people who want to wear masks like to have a little distance while they're eating. If you want to wear a mask, go ahead, Mr. Cohen.
Sure. So we've informed administrators in the buildings that they need to have a plan in place, and we will accommodate those families if they want their child to wear a mask in the building. We know eating during the cafeteria could be an issue, right, because of the distance. We'll have a separate accommodation for those kiddos in traditional desks, sort of similar to where they were last year. But we still have the plexiglass and whatnot, but that's going to be an option.
So any parent.
They can work that out with their building
Okay.
principal. Yep.
So any parent who wants that would contact a building principal, I guess?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
But it's not mandated.
Okay, thanks.
Mrs. Harder, can I ask for a roll call vote, please?
Absolutely. Ms. Woods?
Brief comment before I do make my vote. First of all, thank you to the administration for working so hard on trying to piece all of this together. It has not been the easiest of years. And I know that you all have been very diligent in trying to do what's best for everyone. And there's never a win-win solution when it comes to these sorts of things. Second piece is, I know that a lot of folks tonight mention the concept of morality, what is right and what is wrong. That exists through the peer view of your shared and lived experiences. Our perception of what is right and what is wrong differs from our neighbors because of our perspective on things, because of our environments or our shared experiences. And so just like everyone in this room tonight feels like they are advocating, and I do appreciate that, for their child, there are other folks who aren't present tonight who also feel like they are advocating for their child. And when you talk about schooling, I think the one thing that we can all agree on is the fact that children do learn best when they have access to resources, and oftentimes that is in our school buildings. And so with that being said, there are some folks who don't have the option, currently our younger folks, to get vaccinated. And so those families don't feel like they have a choice. And so tonight, my vote will be no. It will be nay. But it's not because I don't believe in folks to have the choice. I feel like there are some folks who don't have the choice and would like to. So that is, but that's, and, right. So my vote tonight will be nay.
Hey, I just want to say one thing. Stop. I just want to say one thing, that as everybody had their opportunity to speak, everybody allowed them their opportunity to speak freely without anybody saying something back. So I would just entertain that. That be Vanessa's opinion. She listened to your opinion, that we gave you the respect, that it gets returned. So any comments from the peanut gallery in that, if we could just reserve those, it'd be awesome.
Mrs. Nicholas?
Well, I'm just going to keep going here. Over the last week, I'm just going to put it out there. I've gone back and forth. But when it comes down to it, we either need to follow Dr. Damsker's recommendations or we don't. What I've seen over the last year is people agreeing with him when it fit what they believed. So we gotta pick a side and stay on it. We believe in them or we don't. With the facial cues, that's true. I'm glad you brought that up. I think about it. For those of you who don't know, I teach. Unfortunately, my kids told me that they could still see what I was thinking even with the mask on, so I got to work on that. But there were a lot of kids, and at the end, I'll never forget our equivalent to field day. It was so weird to see them with full faces. And I know personally I'm looking forward to actually seeing these kids and being able to identify who they are. And you just, it's different. I know Ms. Cascio left, but the nurses, she mentioned them being heroes, they are. But please do not trash the teachers. The majority of the teachers, and I'm not saying this just because I am one, went above and beyond this year. It was one of the hardest years. It was worse than the first year of teaching. It was awful. And at one point in time, I even told the kids, I know you don't like it. I know you're bored because I'm bored. So just please be nice. And they were trying to do what they could do with what was handed to them, which ironically also came from us. So I do see the irony in that. And as Mr. Price said, please be respectful of everybody else's choice. Stop being rude. I hate social media. I hop on when people say, hey, did you see this? And it takes all of 5 minutes. I'm like, I can't even watch this. People who were friends are being obnoxious towards each other. Agree to disagree, block them, ignore them, but just be respectful if you can. And with all that, I vote yay.
Mrs. Fernandez.
So like Mrs. Nicholas, I went kind of back and forth about this. I was thinking more about it on vacation probably than I should have been. I should have been, not thinking about anything. But so all of you who know me know I'm a pretty practical sort. I kind of looked at how is things going to play out practically. So that's why I asked, well, for people who want a mask, what are you going to do for those children at lunch? Because there's plenty of parents out there who feel that way, and they're going to be concerned about sending their children to school if there aren't masks. So we have to think about everybody, not just the people who are sitting in the room, not just the people who are emailing us. We have to think about everybody. So I kind of got to the point, if I had a child who was unvaccinated in that age, I would want my child wearing a mask. But the practical reality is anyone who doesn't want their child masked in school is not going to have their child masked between the hours of 4 p.m. and 9 a.m. the next morning anyway. They're going to, and so practically speaking, it's only a question of, meaning they're not going to vaccinate their children anyway, they're not going to mask them anyway, so it's only during certain hours, right? And so the question becomes, what about the kids? Okay, so the kids whose parents would like them to wear a mask, do we need the other kids to wear masks to protect them? So I'm not a doctor either, right? I'm a lawyer. So, but what I did is I have the fortune of knowing some experts in the field. And so I reached out to a couple of them. They had a lot of different thoughts, but on this particular question, and every one of them encouraged vaccination when available, but on this particular point, if the parents who want their children masked, and are going to mask them inside and out of school, will double mask, meaning that's basically what they're going to be in the position of doing, because otherwise it is what it is. So as a practical matter, if I were to vote nay, it's not helping anybody's kids who don't want to mask them anyway, because they're going to be outside of the school doing whatever. Number two, though, and then this also, Mrs. Nicholas and I are agreeing in part tonight. And I think, yeah, there you go, right. And Dr. Leap said this as well. Things are changing. I think whatever we vote tonight may be different, who knows when. I went to Sam's Club, right, last week and got handed a mask. I'm vaccinated, so I've been going without a mask. I was handed a mask. Wawa now. I saw the School Lane Charter Schools plan. Their plan calls for masking because Bucks County is substantial. Philadelphia just today did something. So I know one gentleman commented that we shouldn't be concerned about what the higher ups say, but we are required legally as a board, if we receive an order, just like the busing, we don't have a choice about that. If the federal government tells us as a local entity that there have to be masks on the bus, we do have to do it. We simply do. So I do just want to encourage people that, you know, this could change, may or may not have anything to do with us. Just like now I have to wear a mask in Wawa, and Wawa can ask me to do that. That's their choice. But so I'm going to vote yay, just from a practical perspective. No.
I just
Aye.
realized
Aye.
I said, like,
Wait,
yay,
what did you
'cause
vote?
my thing's blowing up here. I think I said yay. I meant aye, not nay. I was
Oh.
like,
Oh.
in between.
I thought I
okay.
heard aye too. Yay, aye, whichever. Yeah. Big party here, right? I'm going to go ahead and vote aye for practical reasons, and because I also think this may well again be taken out of our hands. And if it is, everyone who's walking out happy tonight, I hope you keep that in mind. And I hope it doesn't. Let's hope it doesn't.
Mr. Price.
So I'm pretty short and simple, but I do have a couple things to say. Everybody that's here, you know, I do believe in choice, but what Dr. Lee did say is everything is fluid, and that we will always have the children's best interest in mind when making decisions, based on the facts and what we know, because we all educate ourselves, we all do our research, we all read. It's not like we're just randomly up here making decisions. So we get the information, we process it, and we, you know, make a decision. A lot of times you guys email, and your input, you know, helps. But just want to reiterate what Dr. Lee said. We will always have our best interests, and things will be fluid. So even though, like Stephanie said, and I agree with her, that we might walk out here today and be ecstatic. In a few weeks, if the world changes and shifts, we may have to adjust. And we may not have a choice because some things might be tied to where our funding is. And if we don't, and I know we talk about funding, it changes how our taxes are. And we don't want to do that either. So, so it doesn't right now, but potentially. So I'm an aye, and I'll just move on.
Mrs. Snyder.
I agree with Mrs. Fernandez. If I had my way, I'm very worried that this is going to get worse. I see it changing day to day. I see it. I just see the Delta virus and other viruses coming along. So yes, I'm worried. No, I don't live in fear. I'm practical. So if I had my way, I think I would have all of our kids wearing masks. Now, part of that's because I just spent 35 years as a school principal, and you do everything you can all year long, every day, day after day, weekend after weekend, protecting your kids. So, you know, that's my nature. But I think Mrs. Ferrandis is right. I think the practicality of it all it'll probably be fluid and probably change. So I will vote aye.
Mr. Cullen.
Thank you, everybody. The administration doing such a hard job in such difficult times. Thank you for these wonderful folks for coming out today, and I appreciate everything you've said, and especially the kids today. You know, they're amazing. Our kids are amazing. Today I live at Ben Salem Village, and went out to the pool, and there was a bunch of our students out there, and it was just so much fun, and they're so wonderful. I believe in a choice. I believe, and I had tried to vote that a year and a half ago, that we should have been 5 days a week with a mask, you know, optional. You know, I believe that we should have been here a year and a half ago in school. So I vote aye. Thank you.
Ms. Benitez.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight and giving us your feedback. I really, really appreciate it. Our administration, thank you for coming together and collaborating to make this possible. I'd like to say onward and upward.
Mrs. Rivera.
Thank you, Mrs. Harder. So I believe that COVID's never going away. I've been saying that since it came, okay? It's called COVID, it's called the flu, it's called SARS, there's, you know, parents send their children to school with the flu, with fevers, sick to their stomach, you know. So, and I believe in choice. I believe in, can't dictate to parents what to do with their children. However, with that being said, like everybody else has stated, things could change and it could be out of our control. But I am voting aye.
The motion carries.
Could I just say something really quickly about the nurses, because that came up? Just so everybody knows, the district is definitely trying to hire nurses. I pushed out on Facebook, and even know any nurses, please have them call. I know Mrs. Cascio left, but it's the district very much wants to hire nurses. It's not because we're trying not to. So any nurses out there, please apply.
And we will not be without coverage in addition to that, correct? But we have
We're 5
a
down?
resource to
Oh, the
backfill.
agency, yes.
So
Yeah, the agency. But we still, I mean, it's better to have our own nurses. Yeah.
Thanks to the pool community for coming out too. I've always said that it should have been open months ago, but thank you for coming out.
can we formally invite Ms. McCarty to the table?
I would like to.
Yes.
I
So
think she should
Wednesday, August 18th at 5 p.m., Mr. Price? 5 p.m. at the district office. You are formally invited to sit at the table with us. And thank you. Thank you for your input.
And that, we actually, so if we're talking about that scheduling change, so I had promised at the June meeting, I'm gonna make good on my promise, that I would do a question and answer session for the Public Relations Committee. But because of the high school orientation, that night it was supposed to be at the high school, and then they scheduled the 9th and 10th grade orientation at the high school. So I'm still going to run it. I will have the Q&A. But it's going to have to be the 17th, the night before. And then business, since it had to get moved to today, is going to the 18th. So that will be on the website. It's already on the website. So the next PR meeting is Tuesday, the 17th we kept the same time, right, Mrs. Fye? It's 6:30 in the North Audion. So that means you go into the main entrance of the high school, not the flagpole, but the main entrance where you're at the office. So we will still do that, but because of a lot of scheduling issues and parking and all types of things with orientation night, we had to move it, okay? And I am sure I will see my pool friends there, and I'm happy to talk about the pool.
Mr. Steffi, I have a question. We changed the business meeting. We're leaving it on the 18th, correct? However, what time did we change it to? 5? Okay.
Well, it was supposed to be tonight.
It was.
Right, and then to the 18th at 5. Okay. But everybody has to be pleasant and respectful at the Q&A, please. No booing me. You too, Mrs. Champion. I know, she likes me and secretly messages me when I say positive things, but she won't say it publicly.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to move into our consent agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the following consent agenda items. School board policy items G 1 through 6, personnel items J 1 through 6.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion?
I don't have a question. I just want to clarify under the school board policy number 4 and 5, both regarding COVID-19 face covering. It is on there. Don't worry, it's on there, but it's on there because we have to formally suspend it so the kids and whoever wants to can go back in without one. So that's why it's on there. It's to be suspended.
I have a comment as well. On personnel items, well, I'm not sure where it is. Number 6, our new secretary to the athletic director, and there was somewhere else in classification changes. Some things that were stated publicly about what we were going to do with these positions and the salaries that we're going to be given is now being changed. And I do want to express some procedurally that if the board approves something at one salary, when it's approved, that's the salary it should stay at. It has nothing to do with who's going to occupy any position. This is just a principle. If we approve something at one salary rate, that's where it should stay and not at the last minute be changed when the position is going to any individual. And then I would also ask that as board members, we kind of be given a little bit more heads up as to when, like, people have resigned, changes like that, that if we're then going to be asked to vote on new jobs and configurations pretty soon thereafter. Thank you.
Any other questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against, abstentions. At this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to our board solicitor, Mr. Amuso.
While Peter's there, actually, Mr. Musso, while you're getting your microphone, the public should know also another change that happened now that we're back in person. The committee meetings, instructional affairs, business, and all these meetings are no longer being live streamed. So lots of people have been watching them. I think they should continue to be live streamed, but just so that people know that they are, because we're back in person, anyone can come here. The main meetings, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Lee, our main meetings the full board, such as the special, continued meeting and our fourth Wednesday of the month meeting, those will continue to be live streamed. But if you're interested in something on a committee, you can't stay at home. You got to come out until further notice. I am going to ask that that we revisit that, but I just want people to know for now.
No need for correction.
What, you took your finger off the button when you said good job. Just saying.
No need to repeat it.
So the solicitor's report, we just have 3 resolutions for terminations of employees. The first is a resolution for termination of employee A, as presented in our to the board in various executive sessions. An employee that basically the Labor Council recommended this to make sure the record was clean for the pending arbitration. For resolution for employee B, this is someone who had a last chance agreement, and those mean what they say, that if they make another mistake covered by the agreement, they'll be terminated, and that's what happened in this instance. So that's for termination of employee B. And finally, for termination of employee C, again, a similar circumstance. And all these have been drafted by our Labor Council, and I've taken a look at them. So I recommend approval of resolutions for terminations of employee A, employee B, and employee C. All my report.
Yeah. Well,
You could just do them all together. So.
Okay. A motion to approve the resolutions for termination of employee A, employee B, and employee C.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against, abstentions. The board did meet in executive session. We discussed litigation matters and personnel matters. Upcoming board meetings. August 8th. Well, we just changed the August 18th meeting. Public Relations is now the 17th at 6:30. August 19th is the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at 7 p.m. August 25th is the regular action meeting.
And August 17th is Public Relations at the high school.
At the high school, okay. September 2nd is Instructional Affairs Committee at 6 p.m. September 9th is the Bensalem High School Hall of Fame Committee at 2:30. September 9th is the Business Facilities and Technology Committee at 6 p.m. September 13th is the Public Relations and Outreach Committee at 6:30. September 14th is the Personnel Committee at 6 p.m. Also on September 14th is the Policy Committee at 7. September 16th is the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. September 20th is the Co-Curricular Committee and Sports Association at 6:30 at the High School Internet Cafe. And September 22nd is the regular action board meeting at 7:30. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Can I just ask one question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Dr. Lee, yeah, I got in one to ask. If, since I had said it would be a community roundtable and whatnot, can we live stream the PR like we did when we did the budget presentation, live stream and set up an option? Remember that when we did the budget town hall? And we set up an option for people to email in questions? Can we do that, please? Yeah. Okay. I know, because I know Mrs. Spy is away next week.
Have you locked in your panel yet?
It's a question and answer with the board and you. So, you know. Or I'll go. I'll be there.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.